Hey, everybody, this is Coach Carlos, and we are at quick tip number 29. Can you believe it? I thank you all who's been with me through all these quick tips, and I hope that they have been beneficial. Well, real quick, what I want to jump into is this is a new series, and this is a series about getting teachers help. I mean, you just can't do it alone. I've said that for the last decade. You cannot do this alone, and families have to be your co-teachers. That's more than enough to ask for. I know it's easy to say, but hard enough to do. But when you don't have a system for accomplishing that goal, it becomes infinitely harder. Most of us say that we engage parents, but more importantly, what we do is involve parents. What I want to take you through on this series is taking you through switching from the mindset from involvement to engagement, number one. Number two is helping you identify five different, one framework, but five different types of descriptions or profiles for families, for parents. And based on these profiles, you will be able to give them the right level of engagement. But you've got to be able to identify these profiles. It's like certain types of students, you've got to be able to identify their struggles so you can apply the appropriate type of need. You just can't give everybody the same Band-Aid. Parents and families are the exact same way. So over this next group of series, not all today, but the next couple of weeks, so you have to stay with me. But every time you're with me, you're going to walk away with a treat, with a tool. So as my promise is on Sunday, to give you a tip on Sunday that you can implement on Monday. So today what I want to do is I want to do something very unique. And what I want to do is pretty much just spend the day's time helping you identify the parental profiles and then let you do your own homegrown assessment. What it looks like in your district, what it looks like in your classroom. So yeah, you can look at it broadly from the district standpoint, or you can narrow it right down to your classroom. And I'm going to show you how to exactly do that. So today I'm just going to unpack the profiles and then ask you to do a quick assessment on who you perceive to be there. Don't get freaked out about perception. Perception is just as powerful as the hard facts. As a matter of fact, too many times we run around with perceptions, we don't have the hard facts. So now don't run away from your perception. Now let's run into it, and then let's get the data throughout this series to support our current perceptions or to change our perceptions so that they're more in line with the data. But today we're just going to work with perceptions. All right, so stay with me. All right, let's jump right into this. All right, everybody, let me get this system set up for you here. What we're going to start looking at are these profiles. And so what I want to start with is when I'm working with districts, well, the first thing I want to do is I start with the philosophy. Then we get in terms of the program, introducing the program, then the practice. So that's why it's important that we start with this philosophy. So I talked about those five parental profiles. What I want to do today is just go through these profiles and then have you give me your perception on who you think is in your classroom or your school. So first we have this passer parent. This passer parent is a parent who basically is someone is drop and go. They literally have birthed these children and they're ready to give them to the world to raise them. And you know who those are. I don't have to give any names. You know who they are. They pretty much put them on the bus, drive them to school, but then they're gone. They're uninvolved, disinterested in the child or the school engagement. They don't want nothing to do pretty much with the child or be involved in the life of the school. They're drop and go. They provide food and shelter, but attendance and communication is spotty. They don't respond to calls, emails, nothing, right? When engaged, they become dismissive or sometimes even confrontational. This is these passer parents, right? They are what I call psychologically disengaged with their child's school. Psychologically, they don't want anything to do with it. All right? This is a passer parents mentality. Think about the parents you know who fit that profile. Next one is what I call a powerless parent. Now, I give them cute names, but there's science and research behind each one. But these names are easier for me to remember. The powerless parent is a little bit different than the passer parent in the fact that their role and goal is survival. They are just worn out throughout the day. They're uninvolved and unavailable, right? Just like the passer parent who's uninvolved and unavailable. But they're uninvolved and unavailable for a different reason. They provide food and shelter. Attendance and communication is spotty. They can only do what it takes to get through the day. They're unable to provide any additional support. They're worn out working 2 jobs, whatever life has brought to them. All it takes is one incident, and that will take them over the edge. One incident, the brakes go out on the car. Where they're working at, the second shift gets cut. Their hours get cut, or they just flat out lose their job. One incident, or how about this? They have a confrontation with their child's teacher that just sends them over the edge. Their boyfriend leaves, their husband leaves. They're already stretched. It's almost like that song back in the day, if you guys are at my age, where the song went, "Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge," right? I'm trying not to lose my head. That's who this parent is. It's not that they don't care about their children. They're just situationally disengaged. They might look like a passer parent, but they're different in the fact that they're just situationally disengaged. Whereas the passer parent could have all the money in the world, work a great job, but they're just psychologically, they don't want nothing to do with the children. They don't want nothing to do with the educational process. That's not socioeconomics. That's psychological. This is a socioeconomic issue. Make sure you don't confuse the two, although many of us do, right? The next one is passive parents. This is the mid-range parent who's just trying to find their way. They provide food and shelter. They're available, but they're not engaged, and they're looking for a way to get engaged. They're waiting for the experts, the schools and the teachers to get to engage them and show them how to be engaged. They might be first-time generation parents in the sense that their parents weren't engaged in the school. Their parents weren't engaged, but they want to be engaged, but they don't know how to do this thing. And they're looking for the school who is the expert to show them not how to be involved, but how to be engaged. Involved just means that here, parents, go do this. Here, parents, we expect you to do that. Here, parents, you should be doing that. Engaged is a relationship-driven action. It's how do I get close with my parents? How do I get my parents close to the school? That's what this parent is looking for. They're looking for the school to lead the way, for the teacher to lead the way. But they're one crucial incident away also from being either highly engaged with the classroom or the school, or being frustrated with instruction, leadership, and everybody, and becoming your worst nightmare. You really don't want them to be disengaged because they're right there. They're institutionally disengaged right now, and they're waiting for you to build the bridge to them. We can't sit over here and say, why won't parents come to us? No, this parent is saying, will the school build the bridge to me, and I'll gladly walk across it. That's what this parent is waiting for. Partner parents are already there. They're already your partners. They're informational, they're home support, they're involved, they're aware. They provide food and shelter, good attendance, they answer every email, they come to every meeting. The difference is they're there for their child. Nothing wrong with that, but just understand they haven't bought in They'll support every event as long as their child benefits. They are partnering with the school. They're on your SIS system. They're in the parent portal. They are following grades. They are responsive when you send something for them. But it's all about their child. And there's nothing wrong with that, just as long as you know that. They're individually engaged. And then lastly, performance parents, right? These parents, they're asking the question, how can I help? They're involved, they're empowered, they're leaders. They sit with your principal. They volunteer for leadership at the PTO, the PTA, the LSCO, any type of leadership capacity you want them in. These parents are ready to rock and roll. The big difference with them is that they're institutionally engaged. They don't just care about their child. They want the school to live and to be strong. They're concerned about the life of the school. They're your champions. They're not just a partner. They're a partner also, but they're also a champion, right? Little bit different. Those partner parents and performance parents can look a little bit alike, but the way you distinguish between the two is partner parents are only there or primarily there for what's in it for me and my child. Performance parents goes to the next level. How do we help all kids win? Now, with those differences, what I'd like you to do is take a second and let me know who is in your school. Take a look at who is in your school. I want to know, who do you perceive as your school? Take a look and ask yourself, put percentages on each one of those. What percentage in your school or your class is a passer? What percentage is powerless? What percentage is passive? What percentage is partner? And what percentage is performance? What you want to do is come up with 100% across the board. Do this today. Do it tomorrow. Next week, we're going to have some real fun with what you have here. I'm going to show you now how to apply strategies to get these families involved. But first, you got to do this one quick exercise. Take a screenshot. Email me if you want a copy of this. And then just quickly find out, put the percentages in each one of these. This is going to be eye-opening. This is going to transform your classroom. This is going to transform your school culture right here. This one little tip, but you got to do this first piece. Perception data. And then we're going to get the hard data. All right? Perception data first. All right. This is Coach Carlos. That's my research. I'm sticking to it. See you next week.
Coach Carlos. Coach Carlos.